In today's video, we're going to talk about something that is near and dear to my heart. It's something that I have been on a journey to heal in a long time, and it is people pleasing. So I touched on this video in a video where I talked about the 5 toxic patterns that I've healed from, and I decided to do a separate video about people pleasing because it is just something that's like so common and we all do it to some degree. Most of us do. And it's something that I still like have to work on continuously because I'm such a giving person and a selfless person. So I'm always having to like check myself and kind of like set new boundaries consistently just to make sure that I'm not overextending myself. So I'm going to just go through how I actually healed from it and like the steps I took and how I was able to recognize that I was a people pleaser. Because honestly, like I'm a very like strong person in the sense of I know how to say no to things. Like I'm not somebody that's easily influenced. I'm not someone who's ever like just fit into the crowd or did what everybody else was doing. So I always thought like, oh, like I'm stern, I'm hard. Like when I was dating, like when I was in high school, I was quick to like block people, friends, guys. Like I was very strict in that department. But then like I realized when it came to family specifically, I was a people pleaser. And so that was the difference that made me like kind of notice that I was a people pleaser, is because with like people that weren't family, it was easy for me to like tell them no, cut them off, X, Y, and Z. But when it come to family, I noticed that I was just doing too much. And I'm like, okay, now I see what the issue is. I'm a people pleaser. And so that's when I was like, okay, I need to really like figure out why and go on this journey to start healing, because I don't want people to think they can take advantage of me, use me, or like I just don't want to be someone who's always going above and beyond for people just because I want to be validated or I want to feel needed or important or I want to feel worthy. And so that's what made me start my journey. Probably like 2021, it was my last year of college. So I'm just gonna get into it. So I want to talk about what is a people pleaser first of all. A people pleaser, and I have notes for all the things that I want to touch on. But it's literally just putting other people's needs above your own. So you are going out of your way to like make people happy, to please them, to make them see your worth, to make them see that you're loyal, whatever the case may be. But basically you are pouring from an empty cup, or it may be a full cup, but you're still like overextending yourself to where it's just not a match. So I noticed that I was doing that, like I said, when it came to my family. And yeah, it was time for me to make a change and stop putting other people's needs before my own. So people pleasing is definitely self-explanatory. It makes sense. And you probably like can think about times where you've like been a people pleaser. And so I hope that this video can kind of help you navigate that and make some changes. So I want to talk about what it actually looked like for me. So most of the time I was saying yes when I knew I wanted to say no. So like people would invite me to things or ask me for things and I would do it, or I would say yes, I would go knowing I didn't want to go. The number one thing was like when people would ask me to go places. And this is all in reference to my family. Like I'm just going to be honest, that's pretty much where the people pleasing started and came from. So I will always say yes whenever like certain family members will ask me to do things, and I will always like sometimes even volunteer to do things knowing I really didn't want to do it or it wasn't best for me. And so that was just very toxic. I would feel guilty when I would put myself first. So those little times when I did say no, I would feel like I'm doing something wrong, and that was very toxic and just not healthy at all. I also did not want to let people down. So like that was like one of the top things as well. Like I would say yes just because I didn't want to disappoint anyone, or I didn't want anybody to feel a way towards me, whatever the case may be. And I just want to really just preface like this is only with family. Like so whether it was mostly like siblings and cousins, those are pretty much the only parameters where that really matters. Parents just a little bit. I would do things just to be praised. Like I would purposely do things because I know that like somebody would be grateful for it and they would like vocalize that. And then it also looked like me just not pouring into my self-care. So like I wouldn't care to like get my hair done, my nails done, taking an off day from work, or using that off day to just do like some little self-care in the house. And so I will always focus on like how I can make other people happy versus how I can make myself happy. So now I want to get into some specific examples. So at work, especially when I was in college, I would never say no when they asked me to come in, when they would, ask me to stay or come in early. Never said no. I would rob Peter to pay Paul to help family members. So basically, I would take from one account to do something, to put in another account to help a family member. So like say for instance, a family member might ask me to help them pay a bill. I would take money from my savings account and give it to them knowing I needed that money, or I'm like at a point where I'm trying to build up my savings. And like I mentioned earlier, I would show up to events when I didn't want to, and I would do it for people who I knew wouldn't show up for me. And that was a big thing. Like I have family members to this day who want me to always do what they want to do, come to their things, but when it came to me, there was always an excuse. There was always somebody else that they would rather celebrate with. Like I have family members who, they have a best friend whose birthday is right by mine, and like every year they would continuously like not come to my stuff, but they would go to her stuff just because that's their friend. But it's just like, but I come to all your things, I buy you gifts, this and that, and you don't show up for me. So, and I continue to do that for years. This was a big one. I would answer phone calls knowing that phone calls were not going to be productive. They were probably full of drama and gossip. And then I will also answer phone calls when I was busy. So like right now, how I'm recording a YouTube video, if someone were to call me right now, old me would have answered the phone call and like stop recording, or text messages. While I'm cooking and I may be watching a video, or like while I'm at work pulling off to answer the phone, and like it's never an emergency. And so I noticed like, why am I answering the phone when I know I don't need to answer the phone, or I don't have to answer the phone? And so another thing I would do was go out my way to help people before they would even ask me. So like I said earlier, I would volunteer things. I would be thinking ahead like, oh, like this would probably be a good idea, so I'm gonna like buy them this, or I'm gonna throw myself out there and ask them if they want me to come with them to do that. And I'm just like, why? Like you're just doing stuff for no reason. Like you're just doing things because you want to make this person see you as being worthy. And you can do all of that and still not be worthy. People will still give you their butt the kids. People will still not show up for you. So just cut it out. I would say yes to things that were an inconvenience to me. So like if someone were to ask me to, like I remember one time I had a family member ask me if I would come pick them up from their house and take them to work because their car was down and they didn't want to pay for an Uber, but they had the money to pay for an Uber. And I went out of my way to do that knowing that I had to be at work. So why I did that, I don't know. And then this was the biggest one right here. Making impulse decisions, like buying everyone Christmas gifts and planning trips. So like just a little backstory, I'm the oldest sibling, I'm the oldest daughter. So I feel like I kind of take on like a motherly role in a sense, not that I have to. I mean, I did help like take care of my siblings when I was younger, but like I feel like I just want to take on that role a little bit. So like, oh, like I want to make sure my siblings experience their first trip, their first flight, and like that's okay, but like not when you're not in the financial position to be doing that. So like I would impulsively like, oh, like I want to plan a trip for them and like speak about it already, like tell my mom or my dad like, hey, like I think we should plan this trip, like blah blah blah, I could pay the deposit, like knowing that I shouldn't be doing that. And then this was the biggest thing, buying everybody Christmas gifts. First of all, I think the whole Christmas gift thing now is such a huge scam. This year, I'm not buying any Christmas gifts except for my nephew. That's the only person I'm buying Christmas gifts for. Everybody else, no one's getting Christmas gifts, not my parents, not even my husband. Like we decided we're not doing gifts. Like it's just so pointless and it's a scam, and it's just a way to keep us in this loop of being distracted, spending money, wasting money, buying into consumerism and impulsive decisions and materialism, like all the things, like it's just a consistent loop. But that's a whole nother subject. I would literally spend my whole savings account on Christmas gifts every single year when I was in college. I'm talking about every single year. I would take all year to save up money because I want to build my emergency fund. And then I would spend my emergency fund on Christmas gifts. So that was like one of the number one things that showed me that I was a people pleaser. So once like I became aware of all these things, it became aware like maybe that last year of Christmas. So I want to say it was like the first Christmas I moved here, when I was here. So 2022, that's when I really realized it, and that's when I stopped. So now I want to get into like how you can heal from it and what I did to heal from it. So first of all, I had to become aware. So I did start going to therapy around 2021 for something different, but I was able to kind of make all of these connections throughout this time. So I became aware right when I finished college, when Christmas came around. And then I also became aware, my best friend kind of helped me see it when it came to like certain family members. She would see how I would like always do the most for them and get nothing in return, or like it's just the fact that I'm overextending myself, and she would see it and see how it was affecting me. And so I became aware that I was a people pleaser. So the first step for anybody is just knowing the signs and like knowing like what people pleasing is, and just accepting like, okay, yeah, like I have been, participating in people pleasing behavior. I've been doing things to please other people, knowing that like it's an inconvenience to me, or it's like not something that I genuinely want to do. I'm just doing it to make them happy or to get praises. So become aware of that is the first step. Second step, and this is the hardest step, is becoming aware of the cause. So like I said, I am the oldest sibling and I'm the oldest child. Oldest daughter. I grew up being the responsible, the strong one. And so I feel like I naturally wanted to fulfill the role of being a caretaker. And it started to slowly come into like doing it just for approval. And so I needed that external validation. And honestly, it's really like self-sabotage behavior. Like you're really just doing damage to yourself. Like I would be aware that I'm doing things like knowing it was like not to my benefit, or like I'm pouring from an empty cup. Like I may be going through things. I may be like using all of my savings, all of my checking account. Like I may be like using my credit. Like I remember I literally was using my credit card to buy Christmas gifts. So like just sabotaging myself, like, and just aware that I'm sabotaging myself. And then like, there's the whole old eldest daughter syndrome. So like, if you're the oldest daughter, you know, like all the things that come with being that like leader of your family, like, and they may not even assign that role to you. You may just automatically assign that role to you. Or like maybe as a child, you like were kind of forced to like do things for your siblings because you were the oldest one. And so like you just kind of carried that throughout your teenage and adult years. And so now you have that like eldest daughter syndrome. And then another thing is like, we don't fully know ourselves. And so like we are just trying to find ways to like attach ourselves to things. And so I feel like for me, like I always used to be like, yeah, I'm a family oriented person. Like I'm the oldest sibling, so like I'm a leader. Like, and so I would like take on these like titles and labels and responsibilities that I didn't need to. And they were things that didn't make me who I am. So like, why am I doing it? And it's just because like I didn't know who I truly was. And so I would seek validation and worth out of doing things for other people. And then lastly, like I didn't understand boundaries, and I felt like if I were to say no, that's me being selfish, or like they would see me as being this bad person. But that's not true at all. Like you don't have to be selfish to have boundaries. Like having boundaries is just essential to who we are as humans. And so I feel like now I have a better relationship with understanding that, and like having boundaries is what helped me to have healthy relationships with myself and with other people. So you gotta know like where it all comes from. And so I'll just say for me, like it just came from like how I was raised. Like I didn't grow up in a super like rich environment. I would say we were like low middle class-ish, more on the low end. And so like I was just helping out whenever I could. You know, I got a job at 16, not because my parents told me to, but because like I wanted to kind of take some of the load off them of like, oh, like I could pay for my own hair appointments, my own nail appointments. And so like just knowing that, like knowing your background can kind of help you understand when and how you kind of took on the roles or the responsibilities that made you turn into a people pleaser. So next thing you need to do is just have some self-acceptance. Know that you're enough whether you say yes or no. You have to understand that you can't help and please everyone. That was the biggest thing for me. I knew, like, I remember when I was younger, I remember saying like, oh, like I want to save the world. Like I want to change the entire world. It's impossible. Even the most great influential people in the world couldn't change the entire world. And so I just remember being so naive and thinking like, you know, I can help as many as I can. I can change everyone's life. And that is just not the case. Even like me now, as someone who posts this type of content, who's on track to become a therapist, like I can't help and save everybody. And so just accepting that made a huge difference in my life. It took the load off, it took the stress off, and it just made me see things from a more clear perspective and understanding of like, you can only help people that want to be helped, and you shouldn't overextend yourself to do that. Another thing, like working on my relationship with God and learning how God sees me and how he wants me to operate, I realized like my validation comes from God. It doesn't come from humans. I don't need to please people. I don't need to please humans, because you can never please and satisfy people. And I'm only here to do what God wants me to do. So, you know, however he wants me to serve is how I'm going to serve. He calls me to do certain things or to not do certain things, and that is what I should follow. I shouldn't follow doing things just because I feel like it's going to make a human love me anymore or any better, because that's just fleeting and it's not long lasting, and it can change and it's conditional when God loves me unconditionally. So having that understanding really changed a lot of things for me. And then lastly, I realized that confidence is from knowing who I am in Christ and is not based on my performance as a human. So even like just with being someone who's a follower of Christ, like God doesn't love me based on if I'm sinning or not. He loves me regardless. And so I have to also see that in the perspective of like, my confidence is knowing that God sees me as being, like he has high standards for me. He wants us all to do great things. He sees the beauty in us. He sees the greatness in us. And that's where my confidence comes from. It doesn't come from whether like what I'm doing is making this human happy or not. So it kind of goes along with the last point, but I just want to say like your confidence in general should not come from your external, how you look, how you dress, how you talk, how you walk. Your confidence comes from knowing who you are deep down inside, and knowing that you are enough, knowing that you're worthy, and knowing that you are loved by God and that you are important. That is where, you know, how you feel about yourself should come from. It shouldn't come from your performance when it comes to you as like in these relationships with other humans. And so the next step, the last step, is to just get in alignment and say no. That's what it is. Just say no, okay? Think before giving a response. That was a big one for me, and it's something that I still practice to this day. Like, when someone asks me to do something or asks me about going somewhere, I'll get back to you. I'll let you know. Give me about a day, or I'll hit you up a little bit later, but not just being so quick to say yes. Even if you know you can and it's in your boundaries, still think about it before you say yes. Not answering every call immediately. I'm giving you guys specific things. So depending on the person and depending on like what I'm doing at that time, I may not answer the phone call right then and there just because you called me. Like, and that's something that has really helped me a lot. Like, I'll take hours or so to text people back, to call people back, especially when I know it was important. Because y'all, most of the time when people call you, it's over some stuff that literally does not matter and it has nothing to do with you. It's about somebody else or their personal lives that they are on a hamster wheel with, and it's just like, I don't have time for this. So understand that you do not have to answer every phone call. You don't have to answer it immediately. Ever since these things came out, we feel like we're like obligated to answer every phone call and text message. People feel obligated to your presence. They feel obligated to your energy, to your time. And you got to take your power back. You got to take your time and your energy back. So don't answer every phone call. Don't text back immediately. Don't answer every phone call immediately. Reschedule things when you need to and don't feel guilty about it. That was a big thing for me. Say no when you want to say no. If your energy, if your gut is already saying no, just go ahead and say no. Don't even say yes just because you feel like it, or you feel like maybe when you get there things will change. Like, no. Like, if someone invites you somewhere and you know you don't want to do it, just go ahead and say no. Like, don't even set yourself up for failure. This was a huge one for me. Letting thoughts pass, because a lot of times things will come to your mind. The enemy will plant seeds in your head. Social media will plant seeds. TV shows will plant seeds. They will plant seeds in your mind, and like, we are so impulsive, we'll make a decision and do it because we thought it. You gotta learn how to let thoughts pass. Like, that is a good idea, but let it pass. That's just like with business ideas. There are a plethora of business ideas out there. Do you think every business owner just acts on that business idea every single time? No. They think about it, that's cool, but I'm gonna just let that one go. And if it comes back, cool. But like, I had to learn, like, just because I thought about something or I say something, it doesn't mean that I have to act on it. So that was a big thing for me, learning how to let thoughts pass. And then lastly, I invested a lot more into my self-care and getting out of survival mode. A lot of this also came out of survival mode too, because like me, like always feeling like I'm having to chase. I feel like I was also like when it comes to money and just opportunities, I also feel like I was also needing to chase like validation from people and just feeling like I'm needed and worthy. So I would like find ways to like get people to want to be around me, or want to talk to me, or, you know, want to ask me to do things because I want to feel needed. And so getting out of survival mode really helped me to just have a better relationship with myself and with other people, in the sense of I'm not trying to get you to, you know, see me a certain way or feel a certain way about me. Our relationship is not based on what I can do for you. It's basically on how we treat each other. So getting out of survival mode and just like prioritizing my self-care was a big thing for me. So, you know, pouring more into how I want to feel on the inside versus like how I want people to perceive me. So those are just some of the things that I did to just get more in alignment with myself, and, you know what, having strong boundaries and just like letting go of that attachment to being a people pleaser and needing that external validation. And so what this did for me was just help me to have great relationships with myself and like with other people, and also just being more confident, one, in saying no, and just also being confident in myself of like, yes, I just said no, but that doesn't make me any less of a person. I have a lot more healthy relationships, and, you know, I treat people based on how they treat me. And I don't have a lot of users in my life. I still am saying no to the same people who've been asking me things since day one. And I'm just happy that we're still able to maintain a relationship, but it's not based on what I can do for them. I have stronger boundaries, and most of all, my life is so much less chaotic. Like, I don't deal with a lot of people that's trying to use me or always asking me for things. I don't deal with like those feelings of just discomfort and irritability from me saying yes all the time. And that's really just what it boils down to. It's just being more at peace with myself and just being more happy with the decisions that I'm making, and just being more happy with the fact that I have strong boundaries and that I have genuine people in my life who care about me. And I have relationships with people that, even though they can't get what they want out of me, we're still able to talk on a regular basis and still hang out, but it's not based on me trying to like perform or get their validation. It's just out of the fact that, hey, you're in my life, we have a relationship, and that's just what it is. So you know, getting out of people pleasing was a hard thing. It took years. And like I said, it's going to always be a journey because I love doing things for people. I love helping people. But now it just comes from a more aligned place. It comes from a more rooted and grounded place where it's not out of validation. It's not out of, you know, needing to be accepted. It's just, if I do things for people, it's because I want to do it. And it's because it's out of the kindness of my heart, and it's not because I want them to love me a certain way or see me a certain way. So that is all for today. I hope you guys can get something from this video. If you can get some tips from, you know, what I did to heal and get out of people pleasing. And if this is something that you resonate with, let me know how your experience was in the comments if you feel comfortable. And then I will see you guys in my next video.